Hi, this is Delphine from Embody My Truth. I'm here in the forest in the outskirts of Dublin, South Dublin. It's lovely and green, very, very green. It's evergreen. And I've just been really appreciating this opportunity to feel invigorated and calm and soothed by being around nature. So I wanted to share a few thoughts about that, and specifically when it comes to foundations for authentic living. Nature is such a gift because one of the core foundations, as I see it, is being in our bodies, coming into our bodies more, and being able to come out of operating exclusively out of our busy minds and our kind of ego personalities and our mental stresses and our habitual patterns of thinking. So one important way that we can do this is to come into more of an embodied presence, more of a mindful awareness of where we are, beyond just this kind of squiggle of the busy mind as it can be often. And one beautiful way to do this is to get into nature. Nature is such a gift for obvious reasons, but particularly when it comes to this idea of kind of becoming freed up from the very limited ways that we think, or the stuckness that we can get into, and who we take ourselves to be, our kind of identification with our personalities. And we can get very identified with our personalities and with our problems and our kind of mind loops. So being in nature is really such a gift when it comes to finding ways out of that and expanding beyond this is kind of quite a contracted way of being exclusively like in your mind and thinking like this is who I am, into a more expansive sense of, okay, there's a world outside of my brain. First of all, there's the rest of me, there's the body below the busy mind. There's a whole body giving you more information about who you really are and what's really going on at all the different levels of yourself. And then there's a world out there beyond our busy minds and just our bodies and ourselves as individuals. And nature is just such an immediate way to come into conscious connection with that reality, not just as a mental concept, but to be in that experience and to reconnect us with the web of life and reconnect us with who we really are. Because often what we think is the truth and what we think is going on is coming from our thoughts, which are so habitual and so patterned. And I might talk about that another day, about how we can get into how that is sort of like patterned into us in these grooves of habits and personalities. And actually we assume that that's who we are, but there's way more to it. But for now, just to say that our bodies often give us contradictory information, actually, that is bringing us to more of a truth about what's really going on. So for example, you could be like watching TV or on a device of some sort and thinking that you're full of energy and you're going to keep going, and you kind of end up bypassing the fact that you're actually really exhausted and you need to go to bed. So that's a really obvious way that probably most of us experience on a daily basis. So that mental stimulation overrides your bodily needs, or you're stuck, behind your computer and you don't realize that you actually needed to go to the toilet, like for the last 2 hours in an office context, for example. So that's one way. And another example would be, conversely, when you think you're tired and you think you don't, you should be knackered because you've been doing X, Y, and Z, and you've got this story going on in your head about how, I couldn't possibly go out and have fun with my friends because I'm, haven't done this and I haven't done that, or because I need this and that. And actually, if you check in with yourself more intuitively with your kind of, heart center, your emotions and your body intelligence, your body's consciousness, and you take a few breaths, often it turns out that you're not that tired, and the best thing for you, or that it's energizing actually to be around certain people and to come out of that mode of thinking, and you realize that going for a walk, while it seems like a horrible idea, is actually incredibly enlivening, and your body comes back to life. So there's kind of often a big mismatch between what we think is true and the reality, the bigger reality of what's going on. So yeah, I just wanted to share, I suppose, some thoughts on how nature is such an unbelievable gift. First of all, we are so lucky to be on this planet and to be nourished by Mother Earth, but also we can receive so much goodness from her and from being in different parts of nature if we're open to receiving that nurturance, and if we're open to kind of gently letting go. It's kind of an easy way to come into mindful presence, an easier way than, say, going from being really fried in your head to forcing yourself to sit down and try and meditate. That's not probably going to work as well as shaking it out in a dance or going for a walk. Going for a walk in nature is just such an easy way to come out of that patterned loop of thoughts of, stresses, the typical stresses, the stuff that makes your heart sink when you think about work, or if you're experiencing problems in work, or like relationships, stuff you've got going on with certain people in your life. Going through the same mental loops is not going to get you anywhere, but shaking it up by coming out into this expansive awareness beyond yourself, first of all into more of yourself, and then beyond yourself into nature. It's just such a quick and easy way to become like renewed, rebirthed. Any given moment you can choose to do this, and to become a better person, to become a nicer person, to reconnect to the web of life. And also just a caveat to say, it's not about kind of like using nature. I mean, it's sort of receiving the gift that nature offers, and sometimes our minds need a rationale for this. It's like, okay, I'm suffering now, so I'm going to go and get me some nature. Or apparently it's good for you, and you see stuff in your media feeds on forest bathing or whatever, so it's like, oh, note to self, must go out and commune with nature. But I suppose the caveat there is that also being in nature reconnects us to a wider truth beyond ourselves, and to just the magic and beauty of life. Seeing the trees kind of intuitively, without even thinking about it too much, feeling the rootedness of these, I was going to say beings, but yeah, these life forms that are so rooted over slow, steady growth over time. Being around plants and flowers, ferns are miracles. These fractal, like today I was looking at little ice patterns, and just so much beauty. And I don't need to state the obvious, but sometimes it's important to remind ourselves of this and to really stop and look. So it's not about stomping through on a walk and thinking it's going to do you lots of good because you got the walk in. It's really about consciously dropping out of your head, not being on your phone like I'm being right now necessarily, although stopping to take photos can be one way into mindful presence as well, but just being in nature in a conscious, receptive way as a way to bypass that habit loop of problematic thinking or suffering. It's a really beautiful way to do that. And particularly if you are like an empath or highly sensitive person and have like high sensory processing, you get easily overwhelmed by, well, I think we all are nowadays consuming way more technology and just communications than we can actually metabolize. So for that reason, it's extra important to find ways to manage your energies, to clear your energy, to download it all, get it back, all this stuff back down into your body and out through your feet, and just ask Mother Nature to compost it for you. And then to appreciate the beauty of nature, to remember that we're all interconnected, and maybe attune to that, and attune to the fact that probably we can all be doing more to be more respectful of nature and to stop consuming. So yeah, there's no doubt, we all know the science, we all know that there's probably, like at the subtle energy level, there's a lot going on that is also beneficial, because like you're basically kind of clearing your, sorry, just call coming through there. See, when my phone's on, it's not quite as relaxing, but I really wanted to share this with you, and hopefully it's gonna give you a nudge or some sort of inspiration. But yeah, there's, it's almost like a kind of just a cleanse. It's like you start afresh. The kind of maybe headache patterns of energy or tension in your body can be freed up. They can have some space, they can move, and all of a sudden, first of all, you realize if you're stressed or tense, or if your body needs kind of tending to, and then it can just shake things up, shake up the energies, and allow you to start afresh. See any problems from a new perspective, realize that they're not actually problems and they're just mind habits, or kind of come to a new creative way of approaching something that is a problem that needs serious addressing. So yeah, those are my thoughts, my 2 cents worth on nature. But really that point about mindful embodied presence is a key one, and I will talk about that again when it comes to personalities and our habits and our ways of being and our kind of problematic interactions with other people. Coming into the body is absolutely key, and in fact that's really the way to bypass the ego, to get some space from the ego, which we need to live our lives, but rather than, you know, trying to fix ourselves or trying to pretend that we don't have, you know, problematic personalities and behave badly sometimes and worry and have all these different needs and wants, coming into presence is really, like, here and now presence is really the only way to actually bypass that. And what I mean by that, like, what does it mean coming into your body? It's, we're all in our bodies, but being really in it to the degree that you are actually syncing up your mental awareness with where you are right now for real from inside your body. So it's not thinking, oh, I have feet and I'm walking in the forest here. It's feeling the crunchiness under your feet, feeling the softness when you switch to walking on grass rather than on the path, hearing the wind in the trees, feeling the temperature variations, feeling your heartbeat, dropping down into a here and now present awareness, which is really the only place that the truth resides. That is actually, there's a fresh possibility in each moment. That is the only actual true thing, is the here and now moment. And we understand this conceptually, but very rarely are we in this presence of, oh, something new is possible from this place. My body is telling me something different. My suffering was caused by an old thought that's from the past. It's not true now, or by fear of the future. So being actually reconnected in a visceral sensory way to your body is the key. It's in every spiritual tradition, in psychology and somatic coaching. Everyone's talking about, well, not everyone, but a lot of us are talking about the nervous system and the importance of it to healing. And yeah, for me it's a real key. It really is such a joy and such a blessing and such a gift to access nature, and this is a reminder to myself to do this more. Whether it's a few minutes in the park in town or really getting out into proper nature where I can hear the wind and not cars, is vital if we are to become more who we really are, better people, if we are to stop wrecking this planet and doing just, horrors. This is the only way, coming into presence and consciousness of the truth in the moment, the embodied truth, and nature is an easy way to do that. So I hope this is somehow a nudge or a reminder on something that you already know. You already know this. And that you enjoy it. Really, really enjoy the fact that you are an embodied being, that you have this body that can sometimes cause suffering and pain, but also can enjoy so much beauty and feel things and know things at a different level than the limitations of our thinking mind. So enjoy it.